All right. Good morning, everyone. We will call the meeting to order at 9:03 a.m. this morning. In the true spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge all those who call this land home now and for thousands of years in the past. May we respect each other and find understanding together and recognize the benefits that this land provides to all of us. Before you, you have a proposed agenda. Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda? John.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move to adopt the agenda as presented.
Thank you, John. John has moved to adopt the agenda as presented. Is there any discussion? Call the question. Those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Moving down to item C, the adoption of the minutes. Before you, you have the County Council meeting minutes of June 5th, 2025. Are there any errors, omissions, any issues arising from the minutes? Mark.
I move the adoption of the June 5th, 2025 council meeting minutes.
Thank you, Mark. Mark has moved for the adoption of the County Council.
City Council agenda. I know.
Morris is hacked into the city. Mark has moved for the adoption of the June 5th, 2025 County Council meeting minutes as presented. Is there any discussion? Call the question. Those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Thank you, Mark. Moving down, we do have one delegation for today. At 10:30, we have the Highway 3 Twinning Development Association joining us. Other than that, I don't believe we have any other time commitments. So why don't we move down then into our department reports. Item E, E1, Development and Infrastructure. E1.1, Bylaw 25-018 to redesignate Plan 1113171, Block 1, Lot 5, in the Northwest 10-9-21 west of the 4 from Urban Fringe to Rural General Industrial. This is a proposed first reading. Good morning, Devin. Good morning, Steve. That's a lot of trust, Evan.
All right, want me to go in? All right. Good morning, everyone. This application in front of you here is for grant first reading to a land use bylaw redesignation. An application has been submitted to the county to redesignate a portion of the land the council should be familiar with because he dealt with a number of times over the past couple of years here on parcel land is situated north of Rave and east of 43rd Street in the city of Lethbridge boundary. It's Plan 1113171, Block 1, Lot 5 in the northwest of 10-9-21 west of 4th. Part of the Chinook Industrial Park area. And the applicant wishes to redesignate the lands to allow for future subdivision industrial development from going from that urban fringe, which is the current zoning, to the rural general industrial district under the county's land use bylaw. So with that, council may note that you've quite a bit of information in your package there. That is some support information on the application that their engineer through ISL has provided in support of the redesignation application. So it's not a new ASP or anything like that they're asking council to approve here. It's just the information to support the industrial use and to show that how it aligns with the current Chinook Park Industrial Area Structure Plan that's in place for the land. Something that you're not dealing with today, but if you looked over that material, you may notice that there's a kind of a minor change in their future proposal, and that's that RME, who's developing this, will keep a larger parcel rather than have several smaller lots, which reduces also the amount of roadway required. So basically, it'd be just like assembling a bunch of the smaller lots into one larger parcel that was shown in the earlier ASP. But overall, their future concept still aligns with the ASP concept for the lands. So with that, the application has been circulated to all county departments and external agencies for review and their comments, as well as any planning strategic considerations that were presented at the future public hearing. It is anticipated that the public hearing would be held at the August 2025 meeting. As part of the, just may bring to council's attention, as part of the initial circulation that went out, it was submitted to the county a letter of concern that came from the SMRAD regarding the pond in the plan and the location near the canal and some concerns with seepage. That is a matter that's more on the technical details of the future subdivision and the plan itself. It's not really matter at the rezoning stage. You're just strictly dealing with the change in use of the land. But the applicant has been advised of SMRAD's comments, and they were forwarded on to them. So they will be reviewing those and looking to address them with the SMRAD, hopefully before the public hearing. But if it takes longer time to figure anything out there between the parties, could possibly delay that August public hearing. So we'll just keep in touch with them and work on that just to see how that matter could be addressed. So overall, the application that you have in front of you for the redesignation, it does align with the Bylaw 23-008, which is the adoption of the Chinook Industrial Park Area Structure Plan, which was done back in May 4th, 2023 for these lands. As well, it does conform with the IDP with the city of Lethbridge, which this area is also in, which had recognized these lands as future industrial growth area for the county. And as well with your MDP, in particular policy 4.13, that states that the landowners developers may apply to the county to initiate the redesignation process, which these applicants have done. So with that, in looking at granting first reading of the bylaw, as county council is aware, you hear this repeated to you at all these rezonings or bylaw amendment applications that council may refuse first reading of the bylaw. However, refusing the bylaw would be contrary to legal advice, which has been that first reading of the bylaw shall be given as the applicant and the public have the right to attend and speak at the public hearing, present their case, so to speak, which is set upon the first reading of the bylaw, and the public hearing allows council to take in all that information and make an informed decision on the application. Any financial impacts, there'll be none at this time, but in the future, if this was developed for industrial, obviously you'd have development and businesses taxed at a commercial industrial tax rate. So with that, the recommendation is to go ahead and grant first reading of the bylaw. As mentioned, if there's additional information that comes in, that will be presented to council at the public hearing portion, but if there's any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I did not read all 778 pages of it, but I think that it's an excellent opportunity for the county, and I would like to move first reading of bylaw 25-018.
Thank you, Lauren. Lauren has moved for first reading of bylaw 25-018. Is there any further discussion? If not, I'll call a question. Those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Devin.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay, thank you. We can move down corporate services, E2, E2.1, tax penalty waiver request, roll 194-20400. Morning, Kurt.
Morning, Mr. Chair. Morning, Council. So I'll present today another request to waive tax penalties. So this request comes from, as stated, roll 194-20400. The request is that the tax penalties be waived. There's quite a bit of background history here with this one. I'll just refresh Council's memory. Back on June 3rd, Lethbridge County received correspondence from the resident requesting that property tax and the penalties and accrued interest be waived, or accrued penalties, be waived on this tax roll. On June 5th, Council made a decision, given the significant arrears on the account, to not proceed with waiving the penalties. And then a second letter was received from the resident on June 10th, appealing council's earlier decision and renewing their request for the waiver of the penalties, In their appeal, the resident contended that the county should have reached out via email or telephone to notify them of the outstanding taxes. They maintained that the lack of such contact absolves them of the responsibility for their penalties and on the account. As of June 10th, a payment of just over $11,000 was received from the resident, which served to remove the property tax from the tax notification process. However, the remaining balance on the account in arrears is $8,730 plus the additional 2025 tax levy of $5,600 and outstanding penalties of $3,000 is what makes up that remaining balance. It is the recommendation of administration to not waive the tax penalty levied against this account in accordance with tax bylaw 1273. Some alternatives are that council, at their discretion, can waive the tax penalty. Some pros of this would be it would satisfy the penalty waiver request and the resident. Some cons would be that there is a tax penalty or tax bylaw in place, and waiving the penalty would set a precedent for future requests. The financial impact of waiving the penalty would be just over $3,000. Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt. I'd open up to council for any questions, any discussion you might have. John?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just so I'm clear in wrapping my head around this, their tax levies, annual tax levies, right around $5,600, right? And their outstanding balance prior to June 10th was $20,000. So there's 4 years worth of back taxes that weren't paid.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
And then on the 10th, they paid most of those back taxes, except for the penalties that were owing on those levies.
About half with the exception of the penalty.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand. Okay. Given that, I'd like to move that County Council deny the request for tax penalty waiver as requested for tax roll 194-20400, based on the premise that, this has been our policy, but also when you look at the history, 4 years of not paying taxes, they had to have known at some point or another that they had a responsibility to reach out and figure out where the disconnect was. So.
Thank you, John. Is there any discussion? John has moved that council deny the request for a tax penalty waiver as requested for tax roll 194-20400. Any further discussion? Call the question. Those in favor? Those opposed? That's carried. Thank you very much, Kurt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Council.
And just as a reminder, tax payment deadline is July 31st, 2025. tax notices have been mailed and should have arrived. If you've not received yours, please contact the office. Yeah, thank you very much. Moving down, operations, E 3.1, Lethbridge Regional Waste Services Commission appointment.
Morning, Chair,
Morning,
Council. With the absence of Klaus Vanderbeek, who was assigned to work on the, read this right, it's a long name. The Waste Commission, we'll just keep it at that, the Waste Commission. Couldn't find it here. We are looking for another appointment on that Waste Commission so that we can maintain continuity with that group, especially as we're looking to put out an RFP to renew our contract for 2026. So ask of council to appoint an individual to sit on that Waste Commission.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would actually like to nominate Councillor Kevin Slomp for that position, if you would accept it.
Thank you very much. I would accept it.
Thank you.
Our first piece of correspondence from Fresh Start Recovery, dated June 5th. This is addressed to our CAO, Colbeck. Dear Cole, on behalf of all the people we serve at Fresh Start Recovery, thank you very much for your generous grant in support of our inaugural Lethbridge Run for Recovery event. The Run for Recovery is an exciting opportunity to engage the community in a way that celebrates healthy activity, increases awareness of addiction and recovery, and reduces the stigma associated with the disease of addiction. At Fresh Start, we are guided by three simple but profound principles: generosity, gratitude, and community. Generosity fuels the resources needed to provide treatment and support. Gratitude reminds us of the progress we've made and the remarkable support we've received along the way. Community is the foundation of healing, a space where individuals and families come together to thrive and build and rebuild. We are grateful to have the support of Lethbridge County through this Sterling Wind project. Thank you. So that's from the Executive Director and Director of Fund Development at Fresh Start Recovery. And our second item of correspondence is from the Community Foundation, addressed to the Reeve. As you will recall, the Community Foundation's Committee of Nominators met in December 2024. Our Executive Director, Charlene Davidson, shared our plans to bring the Community Foundation of Lethbridge and Southwestern Alberta Act, the Act, forward to the Legislative Assembly of Alberta to update our Act through a handful of changes. Among the changes requested was that our Board of Directors have the authority to appoint all incoming directors to the Board moving forward, a change that would simultaneously dissolve the Committee of Nominators. This letter is to inform you that we presented our request to repeal and replace our Act to the Standing Committee on Private Bills in Edmonton on April 15th, 2025. Mr. Rob Miyashiro, MLA Lethbridge West, served as our sponsor. On May 16th, 2025, we received confirmation from Parliamentary Counsel, Vani Govindarajan, that our bill passed second reading, Committee of the Whole, and third reading in the Assembly, and that on May 15, 2025, the bill received royal assent, transforming it into law. A copy of the correspondence is included for your information. This decision to repeal and replace our Act was made solely to modernize it and ensure it continues to meet our needs so that we can better serve our community. Although we were incorporated in 1966, very few changes have been made to our Act. For example, we now serve all of southwestern Alberta, yet the Community of Nominators, as defined in our previous Act, represent only the City of Lethbridge and Lethbridge County. We thank you for your many years of service on our Committee of Nominators and appreciate your generous support of our work. We acknowledge your commitment to and interest in our work and invite you to contact us if you're ever interested in joining our team. We'd be delighted to have you. Best wishes, the Honorable Rick Casson, President of the Community Foundation. So as Rick stated in his letter, I was previously a member of the Committee of Nominators as the Reeve, and sat on there with the Mayor of the City of Lethbridge, Mayor Higgin, and this was discussed at our last meeting. We would meet once a year. A slate of candidates was put forward to us. We would discuss. Obviously, Community Foundation would do the legwork and do their due diligence, present the slate to us, and we would select people to serve on the board. It was really cool to be a part of that group. I was fortunate to be one of the people that was a nominator when Rick came on and joined the group, and I have a lot of respect and admiration for Rick and what he's done for Southern Alberta. So thankful for him and the work that he's doing now with the Community Foundation. Very glad to see they got this through. I know there was some discussion at the meeting from the mayor, some concern over losing the community of nominators, but I thoroughly believe this was the right step forward to modernize it and give the Community Foundation the autonomy they need to make the choices they need to best serve our communities, which they have in many cases, such as in the community of Shaughnessy, a significant grant towards the community association there. I believe also several others, or at least one or two others of our community associations have benefited from the Community Foundation. They do great work building that fund and then seeing it through in our region. So just a huge thanks to them and acknowledgement of the great work they do and best wishes moving forward. If we can move down then, yeah, go ahead, John.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. So they're, basically what they're doing is just changing how they're doing their selection committee. They're gonna be selecting the selection committee from here on in and updated their terms of engagement, for lack of a better word.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah.
So as it goes right now, the Community Foundation Board, they have a subgroup that would vet any applicants and then present them to their board for approval, and then that board would then present to the community of nominators. Now it'll just have missed that last step, and it'll just be the board that actually appoints who joins the board. Our county council and committee updates. Item G1, May 2025, starting Division 1, Councillor Lauren Hickey. Lauren?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On May the 1st was Lethbridge County Council meeting. On May the 7th was the Green Acres Board meeting, and we didn't have it the month before because everybody was away to FCM. On the 15th, we had County Council, and the 21st had Green Acres Finance, and the 28th was a Green Acres Board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. Division 2, May 1st, County Council meeting. The 14th, EDL Board meeting. 14th, we met with Sandra from Canada's Premier Food Corridor and representative from Northleaf Capital. 15th, County Council meeting. 15th as well, met again with that same group, as well as Invest Alberta and SMRID and a representative from ADA. Discussed some of the projects going on in irrigation and the investment in that sector in Southern Alberta. On the 20th, the CAO and the Director of Operations and myself met with a couple residents regarding some concerns around water station and road maintenance. Thank you to Ryan and Cole for that, and thank you to those two residents for coming into the office to discuss their concerns. On the 24th, attended the Pitcher Butte High School graduation ceremony in Pitcher Butte. They always do a great job. Always glad to attend that event and bring greetings on behalf of council. On the 28th, Cole and I attended the Shaughnessy Community Association AGM in Shaughnessy. Thankful for them having us and allowing us to have the floor for a few minutes to talk about what's going on in the county and what's happening in Shaughnessy coming up this year as far as infrastructure and what's happening and changing there. The 29th, attended the LD Whoop Up Days media launch, and the 29th attended a Chinook Arch Library Finance and Personnel Committee meeting. Division 3, Councillor Mark Sayers. Mark.
Thank you, Reeve Campbell. May 1st, Lethbridge County Council meeting. The 15th was our other council meeting, and on the 29th, attended the Lethbridge District Exhibition Whoop Up Days media launch. It was a great event.
Thank you, Mark. Division 4, Deputy Reeve Curbis. John.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On May 1st, is Lethbridge County Council meeting. May 3rd to 7th, I attended the Community Futures National Conference, which was in St. John's, Newfoundland. It was a very, very good conference, very informative. There was Community Futures organizations from across Canada there, so got a very good insight as to how operations run and how the organization works in other provinces, which is quite enlightening. And May 12th, I had a Teams meeting with Prairie's Can representative, which is the overseeing body for Community Futures. May 13th, I had a weekly meeting with the Community Futures Executive Director. May 15th, our regular council meeting. May 20th, I had another meeting with our Community Futures Executive Director, which we meet weekly. May 21st, we had a Teams meeting again with Prairie's Can, another representative of Prairie's Can. And the premise of that is that the Community Futures contract is coming up for renewal, so there's a lot of moving parts in that regard, around what the next few years of the funding agreement looks like. May 21st, had a Community Futures Policy Committee meeting. There's a theme here. May 26th, we had an Emergency Management Advisory Committee meeting. May 27th, we had a Waste Commission Subcommittee meeting. And May 28th, Community Futures Monthly Board meeting. That is my month.
Thank you, John. Division 5, Councillor Slump.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. May 1st, county meeting, Lethbridge County Council meeting. May 15, Lethbridge County Council meeting. Missed a couple meetings in there because my cows weren't getting milked, so apologize for that.
Thank you, Kevin. Division 7, Councillor Morris Eenstra. Morris.
Yeah, and here, May the first Lethbridge Town Council meeting, May the 15th Lethbridge Town Council meeting, and May the 7th, I went to the Link Pathway meeting.
Thank you very much, Morris. As I mentioned earlier, we do have our 10:30 delegation, but as we do have an hour, why don't we proceed forward into our closed session? We have 3 proposed closed session items. Candace provided me the updated sections, so instead of FOIP section 21, it'll be ATIA section 26 for item 1. Item 2 is sections 19 and 30, and for item 3, it'll be section 19, 20, 28, and 29. So if you're comfortable with that, I would entertain a motion to enter a closed session. Lauren?
Just a question. I'm not quite sure on the first one there, the Whoop Up Days thing. I don't really see the need to have that discussion in camera, I guess. I'm not clear on that.
Cool.
My apologies, I just was reviewing a last minute email from Peter Casarella regarding one of the in-camera. What was the session, the inquiry for which in-camera item?
Whoop up days.
It's not, that one's not specific to Whoop Up Days. It's to some of the other partnerships that we have around that time of year and that event. And we need to just have some conversations about some ongoing intergovernmental challenges prior to that, and then council can make a decision. I would highly recommend that one's discussed in camera under harmful to intergovernmental relations.
Motion to enter closed. John? John's moved to enter a closed session at 9:31 a.m. this morning. Any discussion? Call the question. Those in favor? As we have our 10:30 delegation, I'm going to recess the meeting at 10:22 for a short 8-minute break, and we'll resume with our delegation. Thank you. All right, thank you, Candace. We will call the meeting back to order at 10:30 a.m. this morning. If we move in our agendas down to our delegation, item D, we have one delegation today, the 10:30 appointment with the Highway 3 Twinning Development Association. So without, excuse me, without further ado, I will throw the floor to our guests, and please introduce yourselves and take as much time as you need. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks for having us. Good morning. collaborating with the other municipalities to get this project completed. Thank you for your time and welcome any questions.
Thank you very much. I'd open it up to council for any questions you might have.
Just one if I.
Go ahead, Morris.
Yeah, no, it's a great thing what's happening already with twinning that highway, and of course, someday we would like to see it going all the way to highway one on the other. However, the one thing I haven't been here is the cost going up, or is there an issue down there with the cost thing?
As far as I'm aware, there's no issue with cost.
No issue.
Yeah. That's obviously is a provincial matter, that's not.
Yeah, but it would be good still.
Yeah, yeah, no, and it's, well, it's only one taxpayer, as we all know.
Yeah.
They don't need to be stressed any more than we have. One thing that I would like to just say a little bit about is the Highway 320 Association has been a real good example, I think, of collaboration between municipalities in the region, as well as industry groups and individual businesses. And what has been accomplished through awareness and through lobbying efforts with the provincial government, I think is, for a small investment, has provided a great return for our region. We are an exporting region, and we are very much reliant on transportation corridors to maintain our industry, retain our people, whether it's for their livelihoods or for recreation. And so relatively small investment, I think, is bringing huge returns to our area. It expands the network for some of these processing companies to draw their product from, and it eases in the export. So I think it's just a shining example of what regional cooperation can do.
Thank you, Brian.
Just clarification, so, in, your November, the government committed to completing the project, and then it's broken into 8 phases. Is each phase, like, has that been budgetally approved, or is each phase have to be addressed separately? How does that? When I first read it, it just sounded like the government's approved the funding for all 8 phases. So that's the place where
The government has announced it's gonna go forward. And that was just about 2 years ago now.
2022, actually.
2022.
Yeah.
So it was announced it's gonna go forward, but it will have to be budgeted, but there is a political commitment to get it completed. And so the current phase right now is that Tabor to Burdette. Then the next one was on the chart there, Burdette to 7 persons. There are some challenges, like some of them are more complicated, either logistically because of the geography in the mountains or other challenges to get agreement to get right away. But the government has been very clear that this is going ahead.
The east piece is probably easier to get the medicine out or real estate, the other side.
Yes,
That's
real
a
estate
little bit,
is, I believe the real estate is complete as far as 7 persons. It's my understanding, the real estate part is complete. Design is well underway on that portion. But they're working on, the other portions are being worked on currently. It's not this and then just learn, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Good.
Thanks.
John?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Oh,
Go ahead,
sorry.
go ahead, John.
Do they have an anticipated end date of the current section that's under construction to Burdette? Because I have driven through it a few times, and although it's progressing, it's not progressing very quickly.
The anticipated driving, date that it will open, they're gonna open the entire stretch all at once. They're anticipating it'll be the fall of 2026.
So not a year.
So what they've done is they've done the groundwork, from Tabor, or the Tabor work eastward. And as Tino said, like, they did put a seal coat on top just to maintain the integrity of that groundwork they had done to winter, and I anticipate they're gonna do, something similar, just to protect that.
With the next section.
The base, yeah, to protect the base of the next section. But the final coat will be done
Next year.
next, well, the hope was this fall, but how weather and contracts and how that all works.
Right.
2026.
2026.
So we're counting on it.
Peter, you had something?
Is it appropriate for me to comment?
Go right ahead.
Thanks, sir. Peter Cascarilla, I'm the executive director of South Grow. I've been South Grow's representative on the Highway 3 Community Development Association for about 9 years, and I'm a non-voting member of the executive. The reason we didn't shut down the association after the premier stood up here medicine hat and said we're going to do the whole thing is because the whole thing's not budgeted for. The money's not in the budget. They'll have to do it section by section. And the only reason we got that political commitment is because we made a lot of noise collectively together in order to say we're important, this is important, this is good for the entire province's economy, it is good for our economies, we do this together. We got that commitment by all of us together along the border, standing up, making a lot of noise. Now, we are still in competition for that funding. The budget is going to get tighter. We know there's cutbacks coming constantly, and the government is always looking for ways to economize. And if they can kick something down the road in order to save a buck in the near term and spread out their expense, they will. We are not done competing for these resources to meet Highway 3 commitment. And that's why we're still running the association, why we built our mission is that, and why we're here to present the meeting to you guys today. So thank you for letting me talk to the guys.
Thank you, Peter. Is there anything else from council? Thank you both, thank three of you for coming in today, really appreciate it. I think I would be remiss if I didn't say something. I think it would be foolish to not acknowledge the work that's been done, the advocacy that's been done, and what that translates to. I think it's everything that I was fortunate to be council's appointee to Highway 3 twinning back in 17-18, I believe. And at the time, there was a lot of talk about the study that had been commissioned around public safety, what it meant as far as what it drives regarding GDP in the region, connectivity, and all those things. And I think it's a slam dunk, no-brainer. Like I really do think it for the province to invest those dollars. I think it's a no-brainer. I think everybody comes out ahead. The province, the country, our ability to trade both north, south, east, west. I think it all improves. So. Deeply appreciative of the message, the work that's been done to hone that message, to go out, to generate that wealth of knowledge that really supports this from so many angles. I think where I do have some challenges in my mind around advocacy is it's the, if the tree falls in the forest, does it make a sound? I think this is something that's extremely important, and I hope that the province sees that. I hope that our MLAs see that. I hope the premier sees that. And, if I'm being blunt, it shouldn't take everybody coming together to do this. It's the right thing to do. It should be done. But I'm also not naive. I know these things need that gentle push to keep pushing that rock up the hill to get it there. I've been confronted, I will say, by a number of members along the corridor when we chose to maybe pause our membership in the organization moving forward. And I was frustrated, I guess, to be accused of not being collaborative and working together. I think we have numerous examples through the Malloy Drain with the town of Coldell and the SMRID through our work with the SRDC with the municipality and other partners investing, some substantial amounts of money towards the betterment of the region. So I do take it personally that our willingness to collaborate was questioned. That was never the intent of this. I think it's like what we deal with at the council table every week, every couple of weeks, is that how do we best align our priorities? What are our priorities? How do we best use a scant amount of resources, whether that's our time as councillors, the money that we have, the voice that we have, and the time that we have with the province. When we get a very limited amount of time, what do we advocate for? And for us, our priorities right now are really around water, wastewater. How do we develop that? And really we've tried to, pardon the pun, but pool our resources in making sure that we have a consistent message, the importance to the region around water and wastewater. And that doesn't diminish what you're doing, and definitely appreciative of that. But I did feel it necessary to maybe just, try and flesh that out a little bit and give some perspective where I know where I came from when we had those discussions. But again, these things are always open to revisiting. I do appreciate the communications, Neil, that we had back and forth. Appreciate you coming in today, and with the election coming and the appointment of committees coming in October at our org meeting, I'm sure this will be a topic of discussion on how we choose to proceed moving forward. But just wanted to thank you all for coming today, and thank you for the work that you've done.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If I could have a motion to go back into a closed session. Mark has moved to 7:29 a.m. this morning. Any discussion? Call the question. Those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. That brings us towards the end of our meeting. There are no motions arising from our closed session. So if there's nothing further, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Morris has moved to adjourn at 11:30 a.m. this morning. Any discussion? Call the question. Those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Thank you, everyone.